Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to be discussing some of the more obscure photos from September 11th, and really before I even start this video I do want to say I am running into some significant issues when it comes to these 9/11 videos. They're all getting demonetized. I put them through a human review because honestly immediately when I upload them they will basically auto get limited ads, so I have to say, you know, can a human please look at these videos? They're really not bad. If you guys watch my 9/11 videos you would know there's no graphic images from them. But really anything in relation to 9/11 now I guess is getting demonetized, and I've had 3 out of the top 5 videos now in terms of views all be demonetized. So I'm not sure how long I'm going to continue doing these 9/11 videos because, you know, I do need to make money off of this, unfortunately, and if I keep making videos that get demonetized, it really throws off my analytics because, you know, my analytics will say I'm earning a certain amount of views, and you would think that would translate to dollars. But unfortunately, if some of my top viewed videos are demonetized, it's not going to be translating to dollars. So if you are interested in possibly, you know, donating and helping me, I do have my Ethereum and Bitcoin address in the description. Obviously, I get it if you don't want to. I really haven't donated to any creator myself, but it is just something where I think I'm going to have to find a new avenue in terms of, you know, content, because all of these 9/11 videos are just getting demonetized, which is kind of ridiculous because, you know, it's not even like there's anything bad in the videos at all. There's nothing graphic. It's just kind of like thinking about different scenarios, and they're like, oh, anytime you talk about it, and then of course YouTube doesn't care. It's all about advertisers, and there's no support for the creators, and they're not going to stick up for the creators at all. It's just, oh, if it's anything related to 9/11, it's not proper, you know, no company wants to put their name by it, and it gets demonetized. But this video, I'm sure, has zero chance of getting any type of ad revenue just based off the content of it, but we are going to look at this. So these are just some different photos that I found. This is a rare photo of the North Tower and the damage it sustained after the South Tower's collapse. Obviously, it was hard to see the damage considering the smoke cloud that immediately erupted from the South Tower collapsing, and then everyone running away because they expected if the one tower collapsed, the next one's going to probably be next. And you can see almost looks like the facade, the side of the building is burnt there. There's another photo of the side of the building. You can see, I mean, it's really dark at this point after the South Tower collapses, but I mean, it is, you know, there's areas where it was definitely impacted and hit. That's kind of a different perspective of the Marriott Hotel that got cut in half. So anytime you see an image like this where the Marriott looks like that, it is the window in between the South and the North Tower collapsing. That's how the Marriott looked, because the South Tower split it in half, and then the North Tower basically completely destroyed it. That's just a photo of the roof. I've shown that before. The crazy thing about this is the antenna. You know, when you look at a photo like this, it does seem like, maybe it's an optical illusion, but it seems like there's pockets on the roof, if somebody made it to the roof, where they'd be able to breathe freely and not really have much of an issue. And yes, I have seen the question, is it possible if you got onto the roof, could you ride the roof to the bottom and actually survive? And the answer to that is there's just no way you'd be able to survive that. I mean, it would probably be the craziest story in history. Like, imagine somebody gets to the roof, gets on top of the antenna, and just rides the top of the antenna to the ground and survives it. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't think you'd be able to survive it, because they did recover the antenna, and the antenna is a complete tangled mess. So this is a more famous photo from the interior of the Twin Towers. There were not many photos after the attacks. You can see, just judging off of the plaza. I mean, look at that water. You want to know one of the things that I'm interested in? The water from the fountain in the center of the plaza. Did that just evaporate from like all of the stuff falling on top of it? I'm guessing the water just completely evaporated from all of the smoke and stuff like really quickly. It's crazy to think that there was water under there and then there's like 10 feet of rubble above it. But yeah, that's a haunting photo because you can see the window, the little slit windows of the World Trade Center. There's a photo. You can see the plaza. the little stage there where the concerts were, the Marriott World Trade Center, everything at this point is still intact underneath. It's just a bunch of debris that was blown out from the two airplanes hitting both of the buildings in that one. This is kind of an interesting perspective photo off to the side of the one building. You can see a bunch of papers fell onto the ground. That's another thing that they kept reporting, that there were just so many loose papers all over the place from the original, explosion. There's another one kind of off perspective of the World Trade Center complex, the different buildings. This is a nice HD photo of the building core, which remained up for about, I would say 10, maybe 12 seconds after the collapse of both towers. It's just such a haunting photo to see something like that, especially when it's in HD. And what was within that, like what you're looking at, that's probably the elevator shafts. There's also people that have speculated maybe there's some bathrooms that still remain. It's very unlikely based on how small the area is that there are any bathrooms within that where anyone possibly could be. More than likely, it's just elevator shafts that would be able to, in that small of an area be up. But there's some different photos there. There is, after the collapse, you can see the base of the facade of the Twin Towers did remain upright. That's the whole idea of them when they were going to create the Twin Towers 2 and possibly make them a little bit taller. There was going to be a memorial at the bottom, and they would have the facade because the facade was saved. It was the one bigger area of the World Trade Center, building of the sides that was salvageable at the base of it. There's another just interesting perspective. You can see that is likely a stairwell. That is the building core after the collapse. This is an interesting photo. This doesn't really fit here. I don't know why I have this in the album, but you can see this was the original planned World Trade Center complex in the 1940s. Obviously, the Twin Towers, it didn't end up looking anything like this. It's kind of a weird building with like two squares in the middle. You almost wonder if the squares were going to become the Twin Towers, but I just kind of an interesting design. I think people would be interested in that. This is such an interesting photo. Now, when you look at this, I want you to look at the shadows and the sun reflecting onto the towers and onto the Marriott. It's just such an interesting perspective how early in the day it was. You still have the shadows not even fully coming back, and this was before the collapse, so there's really, not a lot of, well, I guess there is smoke, you can kind of see it, but you can still just see the sun reflecting on the side of the tower. It's such an interesting photograph knowing what's to come. That was one of the final concerts that they had there. You can see the Marriott right in the middle, both of the towers on the side. That was in September, by the way, of 2001. This is a crazy photo. This is such a clear image. You can see the fountain, and there's a bunch of debris in the fountain after the first plane. But yeah, very clear, and just a bunch of other crap on the ground right there. That photo was inside of one of the towers looking out. I mean, look at all those fake plants and trees that they had. But yeah, it's crazy to think that all of that was destroyed within basically 30 or 40 minutes. This is another good perspective angle of the building core. You can see it sticking upright there, remaining upright after the tower collapsed. You can see all of the dust going, throughout lower Manhattan. And at that point, the core is still standing. That's the building core right there after the collapse when they were able to find a little piece of it. That's just a nice, I like this photo for some reason. This is a Lego version of it, but it just looks like a nice photo. I like the background. This is the Winter Garden, so you can see the Winter Garden with two big holes in the roof. They immediately rebuilt the Winter Garden in 2002. I'm going to include that one photo in this, that I'm going to find it, of the Winter Garden with the trees and the backdrop after both the buildings collapsed. It is a crazy photo. It really is. The interior of the Winter Garden after the collapse is so eerie, so eerie. This is a better perspective angle of the kind of the window is what I like to call it, in between the South and the North Towers collapsing. You can see the Marriott right there. It is split in half. Those are just more buildings within the World Trade Center complex. You can see, oh my God. So I think this might have been at, no, I don't want to say something, but this might have been at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on 9/11. I want to say it was at around 4 o'clock. You can see just the collateral damage in the other buildings of it, just so much stuff. That was in the afternoon of 9/11. It's a crazy photo. Another photo, the afternoon of September 11th. You can see the Marriott in this. You know that little side of the Marriott that survived? It's right on the right. And it's like you can see some windows. That is 9/11 from space, so you can see the way the wind was blowing, pushing it out to the Atlantic Ocean. And then that is just a night cleanup. That was not on September 11th. Obviously, they've got a bunch of cranes in there and everything like that. But even look at that. You can still see one of the towers. The base of it is still intact. So that was like right after, maybe a few days later. That's just a different perspective photo of the Marriott. That's another photo, pretty nice, like almost HD photo of the Marriott split in half right there. I am not even sure what that is. It looks like maybe it was like right after the collapse and you're looking at the facade. I don't know what that, it's a crazy photo. There you can see right after the collapse, the entire ground was caked in like a foot of just crap. That's a rare photo. Yeah, that's a rare photo from the inside. I want to say the inside of the North Tower as the South Tower was struck and the debris falling out and the smoke cloud. That's inside one of the towers, confirmed during it. You can see all of the smoke inside. That is the North Tower lobby after the South Tower collapsed. I cannot believe people were even still in there at that point. That is the last photo of the North Tower lobby that's ever been taken. It has to be. And then this is just such an interesting image to me. So the thing that really gets me about the Twin Towers is the fact that you could see right through them. They were massive buildings, but just at their base in their lobbies, the way the windows were, you could see directly through them. And you can see inside of the Twin Tower all of the lights still on. And I just always found that fascinating, like the idea of this tower, which is about to collapse in 30 minutes, it's still fully functional. It's still an extremely immense building, and it's on the verge of a total collapse. It's still working fine. It's just a crazy photo. Yeah, this is a crazy one. So that is the Greek Orthodox Church that is about to just be completely destroyed. And, I don't know if that is a plane tire. It certainly looks like a plane tire or like a bigger tire, but I don't know. I don't know if that is actually what it is. And then you can see that just massive cable. That thing would like break. That thing's really dangerous to look at something like that. And then there's another photo right there. You can see the interior lobby of the tower as it's unfolding. And then this is in the days after. You can see the plane tire. So they found several different plane tires in terms of that. That's another perspective shot of the Marriott World Trade Center, kind of a closer angle. And then that is a World Trade Center street sign that was taken in between the South Tower collapsing and the North Tower. I wonder if they were able to recover that. My guess, what happened to this, it probably got completely destroyed by the North Tower's collapse, but I don't know, maybe they were able to recover it. Either way, guys, those are just some interesting photos from September 11th. That's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.